Welcome everybody, James here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Aqua EX Gravel Vac by JBL. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on weekly videos such as this one on the channel. Make sure the bell notification is switched on as well, just so you get alerted. Right, let's get to it. Alright guys, so as you can see, got a lot of green hair algae appearing on the substrate of this tank. Some on the rocks. I'm still doing a lot of water changes and keeping an eye on my phosphate levels to see if I can get the algae reduced. Yeah, I am hoping that this gravel vac is going to help get rid of some of this algae on the substrate. So here it is. It's a bit of a beast. I'm hoping it's going to be not too overwhelming for the tank. Let's see what you get in there. So inside. So inside, this is what you get. So yeah, one giant siphon pipe with a valve on it, and a couple of clips. I'm assuming these are for your bucket, and then the actual siphon itself. So yeah, not too bad. The plastic, that feels so solid, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna break that in a hurry, to be honest. That's proper solid, like a lot better build quality than previous ones that I've used before, so that's good. And that pipe is just proper hench, so yeah, all good. So the product doesn't come with any instructions other than what's on the box here, so I think it's just a case of power whirl, as they call it here, which is just swirling the water, or the pump around in the water for a few seconds, and then that creates a sort of a gravitational pull, and yeah, then you can start working through the substrate. In terms of the pipe itself, it's probably about a meter in length, maybe 2. And you've got your clips here, one that would go on the tank and one that goes into your bucket. This kit is a bit of a beast, I won't lie. That's probably about, what, it's like 2 hands, so just over 1.5 feet. But that should be good actually, because it means that I can get down into the substrate without actually putting the whole of my hand in. So yeah, should be interesting, this one. There's a slight flaw in the use for mine, because I don't think it's going to reach the top of the rack here, so I'm going to probably have to mount my bucket onto another bucket and see if I can get it higher up. But yeah, it's nothing that I'm not used to at the moment with having this tank so high up. Well, that absolutely destroyed everything and didn't suck up any of the algae. If anything, that just stressed out all my fish and corals. So I'm going to go back to trying my usual method, which is just a pipe and siphoning it out sort of a bit more manually, because that thing was way too intense for this tank, I think. As you can see, that worked a hell of a lot better. I was able to remove pretty much all of that algae on the substrate just by using the method that I did have. There's still a little bit to go, and I want to scrub the rocks with a toothbrush, but that's so much more better than the pipe. I think it was just too intense for this size aquarium, and it probably works really well in something that is a lot bigger than this. So yeah. Alright, so it's been a few months now since I first tried out this product, and yeah, what do I think of it? Well, first of all, it is built like an absolute tank in terms of the durability and stuff. I mean, it's so solid, and the piping that you get on it is ridiculously thick. So in terms of quality, yeah, it's really good. The only downside that I have is that I think personally it's too bulky for the size aquariums that I've got. For example, the tank behind me is obviously the biggest one that I have, and even though the depth of it is pretty spot on, it's still a bit overwhelming to use and quite clunky, and I think primarily it's best to be used on a much bigger aquarium than the one I have. So I can't knock it for me not having the tank space, but it is a factor in my use of it. I really like the valve on it, although again, if you're holding the gravel vac in the aquarium, it's a bit hard to keep an eye on the valve and keep control of that. So although it's quite helpful, it's, I don't know, part of me thinks that it's not entirely relevant, but it's good to stop you know, the flow of water if you were to release this out. But again, I think by the time that you've taken this out, that end is going to have already been emptied. So yeah, that's just something that I've noticed when using it. I think another thing that I probably didn't like about this the product, but again this happens to a lot of gravel vacs, is the way that they suggest that you you know, get the water going is to swirl it around, and I find if you do that in any kind of tank, especially one that's not massive, you just end up stirring a whole tank, whether that's the rocks, the sand, the plants, whatever, just to create that wave motion, and it also freaks out the fish. So I still find it better to just put the vac into the water and then just suck and, you know, do the old school method on it. So yeah, I mean, that was something that probably didn't seem like it was very relevant to this product. So is the product worth the money? Well, first of all, as of the time that I review this video, I think that the price for the gravel vac, if you buy it in a shop, is between 16 and 18 British pounds. So that seems quite steep for a gravel vac. The only reason I say that is that I have this one by Interpet, and this was £3, and it's kind of pretty similar, obviously scaled down a lot more in terms of thinness, but this is a telescopic piece, so that can stretch out and reduce, which is really helpful. And yeah, it does exactly the same job, and this was £3. So, you know, it's a hard factor to weigh really as to whether these things are worth it. In terms of it being a gravel vac, I'd probably say that you're better off choosing a slightly cheaper option. But I can see the benefits to something like the JBL one. It's got the little ridges on the bottom of it to help sort of control the amount of sort of plants or whatever debris getting into the gravel vac. So it's supposed to help with that. But yeah, again, for the price, and also you get a valve and a lot sturdier equipment and things like that. But if I bought, like, say, a fair few of these, then if I broke one of these, then I still am, you know, technically winning in terms of how much I've spent, than spending 16 to 18 pounds on the JBL one. So as much as it is a really good product, I think personally I'd probably stick to using something like this, or better still, and for what I use, I just use the actual tubing instead. Just do a 20% water change or something like that, because I don't often vac my gravel. I like to leave the detritus and bits and pieces, because I think that it's got a lot of health benefits to my aquatic animals, especially if you've got a cleanup crew. So, you know, unless you're going for something that you want really pristine and, you know, clear and perfectly, you know, clean, then, you know, use a gravel vac, and maybe that one is an option. Or, like I said, maybe going for something cheaper is probably the better way forward for you. Just before I finish it off, I did notice that looking online, the JBL do a slightly smaller version of this. It's like the 10 to 15 or something, the gravel vac. So I think that's the measurement size, so 10 centimeters to 15. So that might work better. It's hard to say, because again, I've only got the 20 to 45 one, so mine is the sort of middle of the range one, and as I said, it's probably a bit too bulky for my aquariums. But that 10 to 15 one is £10, I think it is, UK. So, you know, that could be something to waver in if you wanted to, you know, use a bit more of a premium type gravel vac, but don't want to spend, you know, the money, or you have smaller aquariums. So yeah, I just thought I'd point that out because it was relevant to this review. I think another thing that was a little bit of a downside is that the kit comes with a couple of these clips to clip your hose in, but I felt like when I had these connected to my bucket and then had my gravel vac in the water, it just kept kind of popping out if you didn't sort of keep it sort of facing this way. And obviously if you're gravel vacuuming around the fish tank, then sometimes the tube is going to pop off. So it was a bit of a pain, really. All right then, so I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What gravel vacs do you use? Have you got any other ones that you think that I should be trying, or any other methods to using the product? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave them in the comments. If you want to help support the channel, there is a link to my Patreon in the comments below. There's a link to my merch store. There's also links to my social media feeds if you want to follow along and see what I get up to on a daily basis. And yeah, until next time, you stay safe.